Hello my friends, thanks for stopping by. I hope you all having a great day. Welcome to the Healthy Zone. It is fall, so I'm going to start bringing out some of my soup recipes. And today's is going to be a vegetarian spicy red lentil. This is actually a soup that my grocery store makes that you can go in and get a cup and take home with you or buy it already packaged. But there were some ingredients that I didn't really care for in it, but I liked the idea of the soup, so I kind of changed it and made it my own, which I do with most of my recipes. Or I make it a healthier version of something that I see out publicly. So for this recipe, first of all, you will need a blender or a one of those hand blenders or a blender that you make your smoothies, because we will need to puree some of the lentils. You will also need 1 can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. I have a Hunt's brand here. That's the only brand my store had in stock. The organic were sold out. I have some organic vegetable broth here. You will need 2 cups of that. You'll need 4 cups of water. You will need 1 cup of red lentils. I use the Goya brand. You will need 4 cloves of garlic chopped, 1 medium to large onion chopped, 3 stalks of celery chopped, about half a large red bell pepper chopped. If you don't like red pepper, or you have yellow on hand or orange on hand or even green, go ahead and use that. I have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, which will act as a thickener. I have all my spices here. I use an 1/8 teaspoon of cumin, turmeric, cayenne pepper, and chili powder. That's 2 tablespoons of cornstarch there too. Because I'm using canned tomatoes and box broth, I cut back on the sodium because there's a lot of sodium in those 2 items. So I only put about a quarter to a half teaspoon of salt in here, and then a half teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of pepper. Whatever your preference is. I like a lot of pepper, so I don't mind putting some in there. We are going to head on over to the stove and get busy with this. This soup, to me, I love it. I love it. Now, I know many are going to ask me, can I use regular lentil? It does not come out with regular lentils, because the lentils that you use that are green, they get mushy when you're making a soup. These hold their firmness. I imagine maybe the French black lentils may hold their shape, but we are going to puree it. I just don't know. You can't use regular lentils. You must use the red. All right? We'll see you at the stove. Okay, for the purpose of the video and speeding things along, I have put in 2 cups of water with the 1 cup of lentils. You bring this to a boil, let it just boil for a minute, and then turn it off, and then we'll come back to this in a little bit. So over here I have my pan, and just so for anybody who's already got their fingers typing, my pan is not dirty. My pan is a well-loved pan. I have had this pan for 10 years, and it is a Le Cuisette pan. All right, so no comments about my dirty pan because it's not dirty. All right, in the pan, I forgot to mention, you will also need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I choose to use olive oil. You can use butter for this, okay? But I use 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And over here you can see my lentils are boiling, so I will let them just boil for a minute. They don't really take long to cook up. And we are going to puree half of them. So I'm just going to let that go and get busy, and I'll be right back. I want to set the camera. Okay, so I have heated my my olive oil up. I'm going to add the onions to it, and it's going to be sizzling hot. My pan is nice and heated up when I put in my onions. Alright, so we're going to put our onions in, and we'll let them cook for about 2 minutes. And stir them. Remember, I'm not going to salt and pepper anything because I'm using so much sodium in the broth. If you're making homemade broth and you control the amount of sodium in, then of course you would salt and pepper the layers, because salt and pepper, especially salt, does bring out the flavors when you're cooking. Alright, so we're just going to let that sit for a second. And then when they get about translucent, this is when you want to add your garlic. So this is going to take just a few minutes. Okay, our onions have cooked down until they're soft. You only want to cook them until they're soft. You don't want to brown them. Okay, so now I'm going to take my garlic and my celery and add that to the pot, and then we're going to cook these down for about 5 minutes. I'm trying to talk a little bit louder because I have to have the fan on when I cook because I have a gas stove. Okay, so I've added the garlic and the celery, and we're just going to cook this down for about 5 minutes, and then we will come back and continue on. Alright, so we have cooked that down. Took about 4 minutes to get where I wanted it to. Now I'm going to add my red peppers, and I'm just going to cook those for the remaining 2 minutes. And you could put them in when you put in the onion. I don't like to crowd the pan that much. I like everything to really cook well. So now, and the red peppers, I don't want them to be, you want them to have a little texture to them in your soup. So I'm just going to let them cook down for about 2 minutes, and we will be right back, and then we're going to add our tomatoes to the pan and let that simmer down. Once you get past the sauteing of this, it's a breeze. It just goes really easy. I think it's a very simple soup, and it's very, very good. You can have it with sandwiches or a nice salad. I have it for lunch sometimes, and if I'm having just the soup, I will add some egg whites or something and stuffed hummus. Matter of fact, that might be what I have today. I might have a cup of this soup and some egg whites sliced with the yolks removed. I only like my yolks in the eggs sunny side up style. I don't like my eggs hard-boiled, the yolks. I love yolks and what I call dippy eggs. Alright, so I'm going to let that finish cooking up, and we'll be right. This cooked down for about 2 minutes, so now I'm going to add my roasted tomatoes, and these just add a really nice flavor to the soup. You could use fresh tomatoes if you wanted, but I really love the roasted tomatoes with this soup. So we are going to let this cook down for about 4 minutes, and then we'll come back to this, and we will be ready to add our other goodies. In the meantime, I'm going to show you what we need to do for the lentils, so come on over to the blender with me. Okay, so here's our red lentils in the pan. I boiled them and cooked them for less than a minute, and then we're going to take half of that mixture out, and we're going to come on over to the blender now. Okay, into my blender I have taken about a cup of the lentil with the broth, and now I'm going to turn my blender on and I'm going to puree this. Okay, into our blender we have pureed red lentils with a little bit of the juice of the water, and we are going to go over and add this back into the pan and just wait for the next step. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we've let this mixture cook down. Now we're going to take our spices and we're just going to sprinkle it over all of the vegetables. Alright, and then we're going to just cook them up for a minute so that they all blend in. Smells good. Very good. Okay, so we'll just let that simmer for 1 little minute just so that the flavors open up into the soup. That's my way of chef talking. Okay, so our spices have cooked into the veggies. Now we're going to add our vegetable stock. You can use chicken if you'd like. And then we are going to add the remainder 2 cups of the water. We use 2 cups of the water to cook the lentils. So we'll add 2 cups of water to that. And we're going to let this simmer for 5 minutes. Okay, and we've already gotten our lentils ready. And we will add them to the mix and then let it finish cooking, and you will see this is a fabulous, fabulous soup. So we brought this to a simmer. So now we are going to add the red lentil mixture, and half of the mixture will look like paste, like this, from your blender. We're going to add that in. And then the other half will just be the lentils still uncooked because we only boiled them for 1 minute just so we could soften them. So we're going to add that all into the pan. I hope I'm making myself clear. Okay, so then I'm going to take and just stir this a little bit to help break up that paste. You want to make sure that there's no clumps of lentils in there. And you can do it with a spatula like I'm doing, or sometimes it works better if you get yourself a nice whisk and you just whisk through it, and then it'll help to break up all those clumps. It'll break down as it cooks. This is going to cook for 15 minutes now to allow the lentils to totally cook, and all the vegetables, the flavors will just all come together with those spices. But you want to make sure that you take all those clumps out. Like there's a few running around in there. So I'm going to take a smaller whisk. I have a smaller one here, and I'm just going to really get in there so I can break apart the lentil paste or puree. It will break apart as it cooks though, but I like to do it ahead of time. Alright, so we are going to let this simmer for 15 minutes, and then we will give it another whisk before we're done, just to break apart those lentils. Alright, so 15 minutes on a simmer, and I'll be right back. Well, I'll be back in 15 minutes. Okay, so we're back. Our soup is at a full boil. After the 15 minutes of cooking it, simmering it, you want to turn it up to a full boil. Here I have my cornstarch that I've mixed 2 tablespoons of vegetable broth in. Now we're just going to add it into the mixture and stir it around really well because it will thicken on you. And then you are going to just let that go for about 30 seconds, stirring constantly, and your soup is now done. Isn't that, look at that, that just is fabulous. You can serve this with a nice sourdough crusty bread and a salad. You could serve it with a nice sandwich of some sort, or, you know, some sort of southwestern quesadilla or something. It would just be fabulous with anything. I usually serve it with a salad and a big hunk of sourdough crusted bread for Louis, and he loves it. All right, so there we go. Spicy red lentil soup. I almost forgot what I was making here. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget, subscribe. We're anti-aging here. Be happy, be healthy, be beautiful, and most of all, my friends, be lovable. I love you all. Bisous. I hope you will all try this soup. All right, our soup is done. I thought I would plate it up for you. I have a nice little soup cup here, and I'm just going to take my ladle the soup into the bowl. Of course, that's what we do, ladle soup into the bowl. And I eat about 1 cup of this. It is wonderful. I think, let me see. Yes, there you go. I think you will all really enjoy this. Of course, you can make it spicier by adding a splash of tabasco sauce to it. It's totally up to you how hot you make this, or you could add more chili powder, whatever you want. It is really, really good. Bon appetit!